Okay, let's see if we can get this done now. Using the dynamic range name. With the dynamic range name defined, you can use it when you create a pivot table. Here's how to do that. Begin by activating a blank worksheet, and then click the ribbon's Insert tab. Click Pivot Table in the Tables group. The dialog box shown in figure 1.12 appears. Type the name you supplied in step 3, which I forget. What did we call it? I think we can find it here somewhere. Maybe here. I think it was this one, right? Yeah. Okay, so we called it test name. So we're supposed to type in test name in here. And click OK. The pivot table list field list appears. So let's try that. So I'll go to a new sheet, insert pivot table, and type in test name. Okay, so we get it. And it's dynamic. Okay, now he says drag the when field into the row labels and the stats in the B. Okay, do we have both of those? Yeah. So you can just click here. Actually, you don't have to drag it anywhere, but he's saying drag it into here, but it automatically went there. And then I think you can just click this one. No, it doesn't. Automatically should go here. And if you click this one, no. So it automatically should go, it doesn't automatically go there, but it should go there. Okay, so we want it to look like that. Now he says you can close this if you want. You don't need to close it actually, but you could if you want to. And, okay, so that's it. But his is different than ours because for some reason ours defaulted to count and count. But I showed you how to change that. First of all, you could even change it here if you want to. Just, no, maybe not here. Let's see. Yeah, you could change it there. Or, like I showed you, you can change it by right-clicking here and summarized by sum is what I forget what he had. I think he had sum. Yeah, sum and sum. Now it will look like his, but not exactly because I have, as I told you, I don't have real data in mine, so it's not exactly the same, but it's the sum and the sum. Now he says you can do the grouping like we saw before. You can group by month and so on. Now the point is though now that it is that these tables are dynamic. So that's the good part about it. Otherwise it's the same as the regular pivot table. And you could, as he said, you can do months like that. And we said you can change it from sum to something else because sum of rankings is not very interesting, but average ranking is interesting. He says sometimes the pivot table might seem to disappear, but really he's just talking about a situation where, let me go back to grouping it by hours, which is the original data, right? Oops. No. Oh, be careful, by the way. When you group it by hours, it does this, which means that doesn't, it's not really what we want normally. So I think you just choose ungroup. Okay? Now it's ungrouped. So if you were way down here, somewhere down here, and then you started the pivot doing the grouping now, it's going to look like it disappeared. Watch. And you say, oh, what happened? But it's just that it's all the way up here. Right? So he says also that you can change the summary type from sum to average. And then you get something like that. And then he says if you would like to, it's very easy to get a chart out of this. So you can go to the insert, and where you had the pivot table, but now you have, where is it? No, where's that? Well, there's a default chart, but also you can just choose any one of these to make different kinds of charts. So you could do this, and you could try that. And you get something like this. You have to click on the table, pivot table first before you do that. Or you could delete this one, and you could try a different one in the insert menu. Let's see, what else could you do? Well, you could get that. That enables you to see. In that last view, you couldn't see the two because they were exactly the same. So you really couldn't see that they were both there, but here you can see that they're both there. So you can get these tables which can be, you can get these charts which can be informative, and generally more informative than just these numbers. Charts are part of what we call the visualization of the data, and visualizing data enables your eyes and your visual functions in your brain to be used, and those are very powerful, so that we can see patterns and so on, whereas if we just look at numbers we can't use that function in our brain. So visualizing can be a very powerful tool, and probably is right now. So his chart looks like this, which is probably more interesting because it's real data. But is there anything we can see? Average of the stat and the average of this. Well, anyway, you can see that the ranking went. Well, this is for ranking, right? So you don't want the ranking to go up. You're looking for when it goes down. But you can see that it went up here. For some reason it got bad around this date, and so on. That was for the stats book. Okay, a few other things that he mentions are, first of all, I was a little bit wrong when I said that the pivot table will automatically update itself. You have to update the pivot table, but it will automatically update the size of the data that it's reading. Okay, so you do have to update the table itself, though. So he says the simplest way is just to right-click any cell in the pivot table and choose refresh. He says a few other tweaks that he likes to apply is that you can move the chart to another sheet. So you can go here and right-click and move chart, and you can move it to another sheet. Or, yeah. So you get it there. And he says you can right-click a data series in the chart and choose to format it. So you choose the data series, right-click it, and format the data series. So there's lots of different things you can do there. And add a trend line. You can add a trend line. Okay, so you can add a trend line. Where is that? You right-click the data series, and where is that? That's not available for this data series. So you have to have a flat. You can't use a three-dimensional one. So now if you do it, you can right-click it and add a trend line. And you can use different kinds of trend lines. You can just use a linear trend line, or let's try a linear trend line, and just click OK. Basically, you can experiment with the other things here, but so it's kind of an approximation of what's happening to the data. If you want to edit that, no, that's not how you do it. I think you delete it, then try it again, and add a trend line. Let's try a nonlinear one. For example, you could try exponential or logarithmic, or let's try polynomial. Like that. So you have this shape as an approximation to that. Okay, so you can do that kind of thing as well. Okay, predictive analytics finally. Okay, so we're going to start with linear regression next time. And that's really statistics, but can be part of predictive analytics as well. And we may also venture into some other software called Weka, which is free software, and learn a bit of how to use that as well in the course. Anyway, finally, we can start. But you do need to, I think it was a very good exercise to learn about the programming in VBA, and also to use it to collect data. So hopefully you can collect your own data. Okay, we'll start chapter 2 next time.